let's get stuck in right from the top, how we got started. We are going to take it right back to the very first instance where we made our first investment. So shall I kick off, Ren?
Yeah, let's do it.
So my story started back in kindergarten, actually, when my parents sat me down with $1.50 split into 50-cent coins, and they tried to teach me, I guess, the value of money, but also the value of investing. And they told me, you're going to need to split this $1.50 into 3 buckets: spending, saving, and investing. And they said, you're going to save that 50 cents. It was a fortnightly pocket money. Save that 50 cents until you can buy your first parcel of shares. Now, back in the day, actually, it still exists today. The minimum parcel size on the ASX was $500. So, Ren, you can imagine trying to save 50 cents a fortnight took a long time to get to $500. But nonetheless, finally, 2003 was when I got that $500 and was able to make my first investment.
I reckon your parents supplemented your 50 cents. I'm trying to do the maths on 50 cents a fortnight and how long that would take.
Yeah, so I think I started with I think there was an initial $2 deposit.
Okay,
so I've still got the stubs at home from the Dolomite CommSec book that you would take to school. But you're right. I think birthdays and a few things here and there, definitely there were some bumps along the way.
I mean, 50 cents to get into $1,000 to $500, you needed 1,000 pay cycles. And if you were getting paid fortnightly, that's 2,000 weeks. So what, 2,000 into 50 weeks a year, that's 40 years.
40 years, yeah, no. Is it 2,000?
Well, I mean, 50 cents into 500 is 1,000.
Yeah. So 1,000.
No, but then you're paid fortnightly, so 2,000 weeks.
Yeah. Definitely didn't take 40 years. Yeah, there was, I think...
we start to unpick the Bryce Lesky origin story.
I was selling rocks in year 4 and selling water to the guy across the road who was mowing the lawn. So I got there. 500.
Yeah, you got there. Yeah.
Anyway, the point is, what did we buy? So obviously I was too young at the time to have my own brokerage account, and I really didn't understand investing at all. And so Dad, he bought me into the IPO for Brickworks Investment Company. So this is not Brickworks, the brick company, but it is Brickworks, the investment company, BKI. It was a listed investment company. And at the time, that was like the equivalent of the ETF, the modern day ETF, a listed investment company. So Dad was trying to teach me about diversification, about just putting money in consistently over the long term, told me I didn't need to invest in anything else, and that the LIC was the way to go. So that was 2003. We're doing real talk. We're looking back over time. So I had a look at actually how it's performed.
Okay.
So IPO'd in 2003. What are we, 22 years later? It's up 81%.
Yeah, I did see that. It's gone from $1 to $1.80.
Oh my God. So not massive capital growth, but it has pumped out 10% total return per annum for the last 23 years because it's a big dividend payer.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why a lot of the retirees like this type of stuff. But for me, I got to a point when I was early university where the capital growth was just not exciting enough and I'd sold out of it. So that was my first story.
Nice.
And yeah, don't own it, but it still exists. And I look back on that as, thanks to Dad for really inspiring the start of my investing journey.
Nice.
So again, just looking back on that time, a few other, I guess, notable things. I didn't have a broker. When Dad transferred me the stock from his account, which was ANZ, to CommSec, I remember this so clearly. You had to pay a $100 transfer fee.
No way.
Yeah. And
$100 transfer fee.
$100 transfer fee, yeah. So obviously I was with CommSec because we had the Dolomites, and I was spewing that I had to pay the $100 because...
Oh, your dad didn't cover it for you?
No way! No way. He did not. No way. But then I look at the early days when I really started to get seriously interested in investing, and the story was one of trying to be a stock picker. And I really kind of look back on this moment because for years, my parents had been just encouraging me, stick to the LIC, stick to the diversification, and just keep putting your money in and building it. And I think we'll talk a little bit about later on about why that message still stands true. But I look back on our university days and, you know, the money wasted, but the lessons learned in trying to pick individual stocks, I think was a real pivotal moment. I think we both thought we were trying to be the Warren Buffett.
Definitely. Well, I've actually just had a look while you were telling that story. It looks like CommSec no longer charge a fee.
Good.
Yeah. If you're transferring yourself to yourself on a chess sponsored account, there's no fee.
Good.
So there we go. Things have changed.
Fees galore back in the day.
Yeah. So for me, I think you finished that story there by saying we were trying to be the next Warren Buffett. And I think really for me, that's where my story starts. So for people who haven't heard it before, I didn't learn about investing growing up. Didn't learn about it from my parents, didn't learn about it in school. That classic Australian story of save for a home deposit, pay off your mortgage, and that's sort of the beginning and the end of the wealth building story. Met you at uni. You obviously were interested in investing, but it was really only after we left college and then we were living together that we actually started talking about business and investing. And I guess we picked up the AFR. I don't really know what was the spark.
Yeah, the catalyst.
Yeah. I think it was business into investing.
Yeah. Was it the share market game?
No, I don't think so. I think for me, I also didn't mind a punt.
Yeah.
And then I think I realized as I learned more about investing, it was like, oh, this is a more sensible way where you can use your knowledge to make a return. Unfortunately, that didn't really play out in my first investment. We were reading about Slater and Gordon. The law firm still exists, but no longer listed, who was absolutely flying on the share market. So they were getting a lot of coverage in the AFR. And I jumped on that train thinking that I knew what I was doing. It went over to the UK. It bought this professional services firm over there, which just turned out to be an absolute disaster. And then they were also Slater and Gordon, their accounting practices. So they were they still are a no-win, no-fee law firm.
Yep.
And so they have a whole bunch of work in progress, which you're not sure if they're going to actually earn any revenue from.
Yeah.
But they were booking that all as revenue. So anyway, the UK acquisition was terrible, accounting scandal, share price absolutely plummeted. But I had internalized this idea that we've been reading the Warren Buffett books and all of that stuff.
Buy more.
And it was be greedy when others are fearful.
Yeah.
And so as it was falling, I remember, at that time, we were just working part-time uni jobs. I was working at a furniture warehouse, building furniture and delivering it to offices around Canberra. And I remember seeing it on my phone and buying more, or just watching it go down and being I'm going to buy more. Anyway, bought more, lost so much money, lost the original $1,000 invested and whatever else I put into it on its way down, that I was left with $12. And the brokerage on CommSec at the time was $19.95. So I had so little left that I couldn't even cover the brokerage to sell it.
Wow.
So for people out there wondering about getting started investing, you're not going to have a worse first investment than I did.
No, keep it real.
Keep it real, eat a burrito. But the good news is I stuck with it. And the next investment, which I'm not sure I had any more knowledge at that point, but it was A2 Milk.
Yes.
And for people who remember the A2 Milk story at that time, it was a rocket ship.
Yeah.
So I bought A2 Milk at 60 cents.
Yeah.
Rode it to $12.
Yeah.
Sold there, so 20x'd my money. It still kept running. It got close to $20, but it's come off and I think it's about $7 now.
I mean, what a journey to go from 99% down to 20 times.
I know. Yeah.
I still remember when we were living together, Canberra, freezing. I think we'd gone and done the Group Boys shop and you were pointing out A2 Milk in the store and you were just super bullish on it, trying to explain to the guys why it's going to, the China story.
It was all the China story. Yeah. It was that and Bellamy's. We all got on Bellamy's. That wasn't as big, but it still was good. And then I remember, so then we got jobs. You were at Woolies, I was at Coles, and I remember all the time at Coles, whenever I would work in stores, I would always say my sell signal for A2 Milk is when we could keep the infant formula on the shelves.
Yeah.
Because at that time,
crazy, wasn't it?
It was this Daigou channel where local Chinese buyers would buy it from the supermarkets and then send it over to China. And the demand for infant formula was so high from China because their domestically produced infant formula had all these health issues and problems. And so there was a real demand for clean, high quality infant formula. Coles got to the point, and I'm sure Woolies was the same, where they couldn't keep the infant formula on the shelf because it would just get either stolen or people would buy it so quickly that they had to put it behind the service desk where you buy your cigarettes.
No, not true.
And it was like a limit of 1 per customer or 2 per customer.
Yeah. I remember before it got to the limits that we wouldn't even bother putting it on the shelf. We'd just roll the pallet out.
Oh, and just drop it.
Because
and
it'd just be
go.
boom.
Yeah,
There'd be lines at the door.
Yeah, it was
They'd
nuts.
just fill their bags.
And so I was always like, for me, like I can do all the investment research in the world, but this was the clear, as long as we can't keep it on the shelf,
keep holding.
Keep holding.
Yeah.
So that was a really good, obviously a really good investment for me, but a really good lesson for me early days, because I quickly realized there's an asymmetric upside in investing. So you can only lose 100%, and I lost basically 100% with Slater & Gordon, but you can make a lot more with that. And I think, as we've learned over time, especially if you're in it for the long game, you can make a lot more than that.
Definitely.
I will say this about investing. Everything you do learn is cumulative. What I learned at 20 is useful.